It is indeed my pleasure, it is indeed my honor to welcome all of you from different parts of the world who are joining us for this amazing hackathon, which we have organized as part of the Insights Lab. Wherever you are joining from, first of all, I hope and wish that everyone is safe and sound and are taking enough precautions given the new wave that is coming in. We would like to welcome everyone from Middlesex University, Dubai, and it is our honor indeed to collaborate with the big names of the government sector, the Dubai Taxi Corporation and RTA, in order to bring a fantastic hackathon for all of you. I will quickly just introduce a few slides and then pass it over to our chief guest today, who will be talking about Dubai Taxi Corporation and RTA. And we are also joined by Dr. Sedwin Fernandez, who is the Pro Vice Chancellor of Middlesex University, Dubai. And we would definitely want a few words from him as a word of welcome. So Middlesex University Dubai, for those of you who are getting associated for the first time, is the overseas campus of Middlesex University in London. We do offer a lot of interesting MSc programs, and this is exclusively based upon the MSc Data Science program that we started recently. As part of the data science program, we have launched Middlesex Insights Lab, and the entire objective or the entire purpose of the Insights Lab is to make sure that we bridge the gap between academic world and the industry, where we bring in live data sets for participants to work on. We have a wonderful team of students who are behind the Middlesex Insights Lab, and would definitely like to thank Kesavan, Neil, Shweta, and Maria. Middlesex Insights Lab is part of the Center of Innovation and Human Experience, headed by Dr. Fahmida Hussain. Just to give you a brief timeline on the hackathon. So basically, we have closed our registrations and we are doing the opening ceremony, where we'll be talking about Dubai Taxi Corporation, what they do with data, and share more insights on what would benefit them at the end of the hackathon. After today's session, you will be given a sample data, which is basically a few heads and few rows, based on which you will have to design a proposal. Tell us what you would be interested in doing. It could vary from dashboards to predictive modeling to generating insights for the firm and so on. And based on the proposals, we will be selecting few proposals. And then you will sign an NDA form for the data sharing, which is brought to you by Dubai Taxi Corporation and RTA. And then once you get hands-on to this data set, you will be working on the final submissions, which is end of June. So it's a long process. And what I'm really excited about is, other than the cash prizes, of course, which are there for the hackathon, 3,500 AED. We also have some partners joining us for the hackathon, who will be training the participants with appropriate tools that they could be using in order for making their final work in a better format. We did have the previous hackathon where we had launched Food for Safety, and it was a big success. And there were close to 180 teams that participated in the last hackathon. Before inviting our chief guest, who is the backbone of Dubai Taxi Corporation, it is in the corporate leadership, Mr. Amar. I'll be definitely introducing him. But before introducing Mr. Amar, I would like to request Dr. Sedwin Fernandez to say a few words and to welcome our participants. Dr. Sedwin Fernandez. You're just on mute, Dr. Sedwin. Yeah. Perfect.
Morning, everyone, and welcome to Middlesex University, Dubai. And a special welcome to our chief guest, Mr. Amar Rashid Al-Baraiki, to Middlesex University, and for, giving us the opportunity to tie up with DTC. In my role as Pro Vice Chancellor, I'm called to do many welcome speeches, but this is the one I'm most qualified to give among all the speeches I have given, because I don't drive. And so I use Dubai taxis day in and day out for the last 30 years since I'm coming to Dubai. Okay. In the 90s, as Mr. Amar will know, it was a non-brand branded taxi service, and you would just say, "Oh, this thing," and then you would negotiate the price, and it was really a mess in the sense that, especially if you're a tourist, you don't know should you pay 5 dirhams, 50 dirhams, 100 dirhams. Is this really a taxi? And so that of course went on till I think till end of the decade, and then suddenly. All of these were merged into a branded Dubai, not Dubai taxi, but into a taxi service. And then as Dubai grew in 2000, those of us who were here realized that transport was one of the biggest challenges. Like you couldn't get the public transport was not much. The road surfaces were not that much. And then His Highness, like in a stroke of genius, just created the RTA and said, "Go, guys, give me a solution to the problem." And I tell you, those of us who have been in Dubai for a long time, if you were there in 2004, 2005, you thought there was no solution to this transport problem. And it's amazing the sort of roads, the public transport that has come through. And in 2006 onwards, the Dubai Taxi Corporation was formed. So it is really and I've been so blessed with the service of the Dubai Taxi Corporation. I have left things in taxis. I have got them back. I've got. I have. If I've if there are any issues, you can always have a place where you can say, okay, this is an issue, and there were very very few issues. So I'm really. We are all really blessed with Dubai Taxi Corporation. Middlesex also has a long association with the RTA. In 2019, we won a worldwide bid for the Arte Kiadi 4 Technical Leadership Program. And we had an amazing 20 engineers from RTA, in the leadership module of this program, and which was really, really successful and really well appreciated by the participants. So I'm particularly pleased to be associated that Middlesex, is partnering with RTA and the Dubai Taxi Corporation. Uh, our data insights lab, when we started it, this was the purpose which we started it. It was not about Middlesex, and it was not about our programs or anything about that kind. We wanted to really do, to engage industry, engage the practitioners, and bring this all on one platform for the benefit of the science, the data science part of it, and not so much from a Middlesex point of view. So I'm really happy with the 230 plus teams which are participating in this program. And I would like to thank Mr. Amar and DTC for partnering with us, and for all the teams taking part, and to wish them all success. So thank you very much, and go analyze that data and give us insights which help us to still further better the service that is being offered. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Sedwin. And I think it's really, really interesting to know your personal experience, and I'm sure the participants are honored to have welcome address from you. Thank you so much, Dr. Sedwin. And that is the key announcement that Dr. Sedwin actually made. There are more than 230 teams which are participating in this hackathon. I think everyone is interested to do the best of the analytics that could benefit the public sector, that could benefit transportation, and that could benefit Dubai Taxi Corporation. We are indeed lucky to have Mr. Amar as one of the chief guests, and also informing us about the hackathon and the data and what DTC does. And the reason why I'm saying we are so lucky is because not only he's one of the top 5 of Dubai Taxi Corporation, he's the director of assets management, head of innovation. But I was truly blessed when I had his when we had our first meeting. And the language that Mr. Amar was speaking was so in line with very few who could actually sense both analytics and business together. And it was music to the ears of a data analyst, where someone from core business has such a deep knowledge in analytics, and such wonderful things that they are already doing with data and what they want to do with the data. If it was not for Mr. Amar, this hackathon would not have been possible. He's fantastic in sharing this culture of open data and how people can work with data in order to generate more analytics. So without further delay, I would want to invite Mr. Amar to share, first of all, what is happening in Dubai Taxi Corporation, inform a bit about certain data points like the trips data that you have, and what is it that could benefit Dubai Taxi Corporation in the future. Mr. Amar, the stage is all yours.
Good afternoon. First of all, I would like to thank the University of Middlesex, for this opportunity to be with you here in this hackathon. And I would like to thank you personally, Dr. Sidwan, for the kind words that you said about the taxi service. And I'm lucky actually to experience this era actually from the beginning. I joined Dubai Taxi or Dubai Transport in 2004. So I'm with them for 17 years, and I saw the establishment of the RTA, and I've seen the problem. And I was part of this evolvement of the transport, especially the taxis, because when I started my career, I didn't start it actually in asset department. There was no asset department at that time. I started from the IT department. So I'm an IT guy, and started by putting the systems in place, which is, the GPS tracking system, moving all the traditional, taxi service from an offline meter to online meters, and then building the databases that goes behind it, and all the way through till all the devices and IoT devices, and using it in a smart way now, like after 17 years. I have a small presentation, if you will allow me to share it. I think maybe it will give you a small information about Dubai Taxi. Is my screen clear or not?
Yes, it is. That's wonderful.
So, So as Dubai Taxi, from the beginning, in our strategy, data and information is part of it. We always want to be pioneer. We want to always use the smart services into our transport. So like if you see our vision, it's pioneer and safe and reliable and smart services. So it's there in the core. And this is to be revised. And I think intelligent or AI will be part of it in the next revision. What's Dubai Taxi? Of course, like Dr. Said, we're one of many operators, and this is very important for the people using this, doing this hackathon to understand. We're like 43% out of the market in Dubai. We're the red roof. So you will see many taxis in Dubai. The red roof is belonging to Dubai Taxi. We have over 4,264 vehicles. Some facts and figures about us. We have yearly around 77 million customers. So imagine the number of trips that you will have. We have around 44 million trips done yearly. And we cater for more than 11,500 drivers. Our turnover or revenue is around 1.6 billion. And we always maintain the highest level of utilization. We reach 91% of our utilization on a yearly basis. Our profit around 211 million. And we have very, very good KPIs. For example, our accident KPI is an accident, a 0.24 accident for every 100,000 kilometers that we run. We take the initiatives, and we were the first actually to introduce the hybrid taxis in 2008. 50% of our fleet now is energy efficient, hybrid. We introduced the Tesla fleet. We have 200 vehicles, fully electrified, fully connected vehicles. Also, we have some trials on the fuel cell. We're widely spread throughout Dubai. So whatever you see here in the map, this is our locations and offices. It's not operated from one place. We understood from the beginning that we need to be spread all over Dubai so we can provide the best service for our customers. This is in Arabic, but I will explain. See, how is data is used in Dubai Taxi? We're data-driven, we're KPI-driven company. So we have tools that helps us, get to this. We have the Tableau, and I'm sure everybody is aware of Tableau. This is for visualization. Our core system where we generate all of our data is the D8 system, which is the metering system. And for our limousine fleet, we have RMS system. It's very important for us for the data to be accessible by everybody. That's why we tried many applications. We tried R, we tried Python, but for a company or in a corporate scale, we wanted something easy that everybody can understand. So eventually we used NIME, and I think in this presentation as well, I'll be presenting some of the NIME data when I'll be speaking about the trips data. What do we use all these data for? We have a very advanced operational control center that's used in monitoring, supporting, and smartly guiding our fleet into the demand areas. We have on-spot reports. We have data analysis team that's working in that OCC as well. They do the daily reports, the weekly reports, and they always change according to the requirements and the changes that happens in the market. The OCC is to support the operation of different services. We have many services. We have the normal taxi, what you see on the road. We have towing services. We operate school buses, and we have limousines as well. So whatever vehicle that you see through Careem and Uber, it's not owned by Careem and Uber. It's owned by DTC most of the time, and you can identify it with the small logo on the side. In data science, you collect data. Data is collected everywhere, and this is a small example of where we can collect data. We have smart inspection systems where we don't need to use, a human, to inspect the vehicles at the end of the shift. So the vehicles would drive automatically under these smart inspections, full of sensors that will give us feeds about the condition of the vehicle. Even it will recognize scratches that's available. So for image processing, we do a lot of image processing. We have cameras installed within the vehicles. We count passengers. We see if there is any misuse from the driver's side as well. So black trips, all these things is ways of us, using intelligence or AI into the Dubai Taxi. But for the sake of the hackathon, and we are sharing some information related to the trips, which is the basis, of our daily work. So I'll be speaking a little bit about, what is a trip, basically. Maybe most people, they don't know what is a trip is consistent of. So what is a taxi trip? Taxi trip it's different from country to country, but the logic is almost the same. Okay. You start with a flag fall or flag down, which is an initial value decided by the regulator. In Dubai, it is different. It's 5 dirhams in the morning, 5.5 in the evening. If the source is different, like if it's through dispatch or if it's through Careem, it has a surcharge, so it's different. It starts with 8 and 9. And we have a minimum fare as well. This is all related to the flag fall. Then after the flag fall starts, there is a distance charge. So if you can see, for every kilometer travel, there's an amount. And this is what you will see in the data that we're sharing with you. Whenever you're not traveling, there is a waiting time. So this is charged as well. So there is a waiting charge. This is basically a trip, you know, any taxi trip. Okay. So let me go to show you like us in Dubai Taxi, we're using the system. So let me show you a glance of the data that you, I don't know if Dr. you shared the data with them or not.
Not yet. We will be sharing. So we'll be sharing the sample data first for them to send the proposals. And once their proposals are shortlisted, then we'll share the NDA and then the full data. So you can possibly brief them.
On basically, it's a simple data set. Of course, all of our information is connected, if you can see it. So it's related by sections. We can see all the HR information, finance, asset information. What we'll be sharing with you is some operational data. So it's basically the trip data. I mean, we selected here, for the sake of this presentation, I selected 5 days worth of data. So we can see.
Sorry, Amar, I think we still can see only your PowerPoint.
I think I need to stop my share.
Yeah.
And yeah. Is it okay now?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay. So basically, this is the 9 system that I was talking about. It's just a data manipulation tool that can help you, manipulate the data, clean it, and view it and visualize it, analyze it, and run it through some models. This is basically what you guys doing in the course, but in a more consolidated way. Okay, and you can plug in all the tools that you can use, basically, like if you're using Python or if you're using R or Weka or whatever language you choose. I mean, you can run it through 9 as well. So the data that I will be sharing with you, basically, it's the trips data. This is the data that you will be working with, basically. So this data has around, 69 columns. It's almost self-explanatory, but I will be sending as well the data description for it. So it has most of the information that's related to a trip that we're capturing. For example, you have the driver ID, the time that this trip happened, the location into longitude and longitude, and you will have the speeds and the flag fall that I was talking about.
Amar, I think if you can share the full desktop, we can still see 9, but not the data view.
I cannot see it. Sorry. Okay. Now, is it clear?
So we can still see 9.
Yeah, but can you see the table?
No, not the table. Yeah, now we can. Perfect.
Okay. Now it's clear, right?
It's back to the 9 window. We could see the table for a while, but then we're back to the 9 view.
Can you see the table now?
Just a second. Yes, that's perfect.
Okay. Yeah, I would like this session to be interactive. I mean, if anybody wants to ask questions, I mean, it's fine by me. Seek this opportunity, to have a more interactive session than a one-way feed better. So in this data, you will see we have the ID. I will send the data description for this. It's basically, we have a number for each driver. So this will make it recognize which driver is this. The time that happened, we have multiple fleets, so you see the fleets. The location, you can plot this location as well. What's the flagpole of this trip? What's the total value of the trip as well? Okay. Car number, and a lot of other information. Of course, 1 minute. It's kind of difficult to share actually. Okay. Of course, all this data as well, it will have some more information related to the areas. See, the area of Dubai is divided into 300, just for our sake. So basically what we're looking for from this data, I mean, what I would like to see as a DTC, you know, how we can best use this information, like demand areas. What would be the next area, you know, that possibly the driver can be guided to go to automatically during this hour? I mean, what is the expected revenue? We'll be sharing a big set of data related, maybe minimum of 6 months, so you can use it for a sample and you can do proper prediction on this data. Doctor, I don't know what else you want me to explain, like in terms of the data.
So sure. So I think so if you could possibly explain what could generate value for DTC in terms of, like, of course, the standard predictions and all would stand, but you know, other than the key objective that you mentioned, is there anything else that could benefit you from a product point of view, from analytics point of view, and so on?
Yeah. So basically, like if we're gonna say that we want to predict the demand in the next area, this is not that useful for us because we're already using it, you know.
Yeah.
But I would like it to be more challenging. For example, I'm a driver in this area. Okay. I want to put all the options to that driver to say, okay, if you go to area A, your income, you will get a trip within this many minutes, basically. And your income most likely will be this much. Versus if you go to an area C, for example, or D, this is what's the possible outcome for you. I mean, this can be used in a bigger application where, you know, can be linked to his mobile, where he can see all this information from him. You know, this is something more useful to us than just a heat map where I can see the locations. You know, other things maybe can be useful of this data is the type of vehicles. Like in this data, like for example, we have salons versus vans versus different vehicles. I mean, what would be the best fleet mix at a certain time, you know, that would generate more revenue for me? We have the number of drivers as well. Drivers, we can see their behaviors and patterns. In a certain shift, which nationality or which driver is best to work on? You know, like this low-income drivers, should they work in the evening or should they work in the morning, or what's the best mix of this data? This kind of information actually we're looking for.
That's amazing. I think Mohan had few questions. Mohan, would you want to unmute and speak? I may request everyone, those who have questions, you can raise hand and we'll invite you to ask questions. So this is the best time to know from the Dubai Taxi Corporation itself, like what their expectations are, and it would be the best to know your questions so that we can make the session more interactive. Mohan, please go ahead.
Hi, Amar. Can you hear me?
Hi. Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I just have a question regarding the supply and demand, the one which you explained, right? When there is a demand over in some particular area, the driver has to be present there, right? So yes. This seems like a supply and demand issue. So is this what you are trying to explain here?
Yes, yeah. Supply and demand, but what I'm not talking about supply and demand as an information. No, I'm talking about guiding the drivers to know at this moment what would be the best place for him to go. I don't want to know as a Dubai taxi what's the supply and demand, because at the end of the day, all of our drivers, maybe this is something I didn't mention, they're working on commission, they're not working on salaries.
Okay.
So the more money they make, the better for them, because they will get a higher commission.
Oh, okay. And one more question I have. It's regarding the data that you collect from the trips, right? So all these taxis has accelerometer sensors, which collects the XYZ coordinates of the drive. I mean, for the trip.
Yes,
Okay.
it's all there. I mean, it's there during the trip, and we have information as well outside of the trip as well.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you, Mohan. Dalia, you have a question. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to know about is there any tracking system for customers that take trips on regular basis, and this might be like mapping for the taxi drivers for to expect certain traffic in certain areas.
See, for the taxis, we don't keep such data, because most of the trips there will be through, street hailing. So street hailing, you will not capture much information about the customers, but we do have some information for the trips that's been done through either Kareem or through our DTC app. I mean, we capture the customers' information. But these information, I mean, these trips, only 10% out of the trips that we generate on daily basis.
Okay, great.
Faizan, if you can go
Is
ahead.
there any,
Sorry. Go ahead, Dalia. No problem.
For Expo, I think the traffic should be expected to be want to predict certain traffic during Expo. Depends on other entities or maybe registration or hotels or different entities that can collaborate with RTA or DTC. So will it be beneficial to get certain details?
Related to the demand or Expo, I mean, we have our own forecast, but see, these areas are new and it's not open for the public. I mean, I don't think the sample of data that we will be giving you will give you an indication of how to forecast it. And it will be very difficult, because it's not trade center where there is an exhibition that happens time, because it's a fairly remote area, never been used. All prediction is, but also fact that's related to registration, like you said, flight information, the pandemic. What's the situation from the pandemic? I mean, it's going to be very difficult, I think, for the hackathon's sake, to do such exercise. Although it will be very interesting to see. Yeah, but I think it's going to be a little bit difficult for the time frames that you have.
Wonderful. Kiran has an interesting question, Mr. Amar, on the COVID-19 perspective. Kiran, would you want to elaborate?
Hi guys, I just wanted to ask that, if the data includes the COVID-19 timeframe data, the demand of taxis would have taken a fall because of lockdown being imposed and people going out less. So that might kind of give incorrect insights based on the demands that the taxis might see. So would that data be shared, or do we have to those insights?
We can share it, but like you said, it's not going to be an indicative, because during the month of April last year, even same time now last year, it was a total lockdown. I mean, taxi was not operating. We were operating only 400 taxis. So I don't think it will give you a right indication of what it is like, in the sector. But maybe we'll share 2019 and some of 2020 as well, data. So it will give you an indication. We have no issue.
Yeah, I think that would be interesting, because it could kind of generate some analytics on the pre-COVID, and now that 2021 things are slowly getting back to normal.
You can do that, and yeah, we're recovering actually very fast. You'll be surprised, very fastly recovered.
Yeah. Interesting. Faizan, you had a question? Please go ahead.
Yeah, Assalamu alaikum.
So,
Yeah, actually, what I got to know from your talk here, Mr. Amar, was that it seems that the requirement of DTC is to give a forecast to the drivers of
Yes.
the Dubai Taxi Corporation so that they could know what time frame to work in which place to work in. So we need to give them a forecast.
Yes.
Is that something what you're looking
But
for?
you have to, yeah, based on his previous performances, like a lazy driver, or basically see each driver, they satisfied with certain amounts, and you can see through the data that this driver, his wish list is to have only like 300 dirhams a day. Some they will have 500 dirhams. So how can we help him make little bit more, like a trip more, or two more, or achieve his goal faster, so the vehicle can be utilized by some other driver?
So basically, you're looking to target each and every single driver of the Dubai
Yeah.
Taxi Corporation. Oh,
Yeah.
all right. That's okay. That's clear. Thank you.
Perfect. Kiran Naidu, you had a question, please go ahead.
Thanks. Good afternoon, Amar and Krishna Das. My question is related to total how much historical information we will be getting it for doing analysis.
This depends on what doctor requests for.
So far, Kiran, what we have agreed on itself, like I think that's 2021 data, but that itself is like some 3 GB, and you'll be we'll also be testing you on the big data analytics set on how to handle this volume of data. So we'll see. But now, in the Q&A, that the new perspective has come up for 2019. So we'll see if that's possible to include 2019 data. Else, as of now, we have 2021 data readily available.
Makes sense. In that data, do we have customer feedback section also?
Customer feedback. No, not. It will be only for the trips that's done through the e-hailing applications, like through Kareem or DTC. But the street pickup, no, it's not available.
Thank you so much. Last question, Amar. Do we have any a standard number of trips for specific driver? Let's say X driver has to do these many trips per day only. Do we have any baseline or any limit for that, or he can do a number of trips per day?
No, we don't monitor drivers by the number of trips. We monitor them by the income. So we have a slab system. So basically, if he generates 390 dirhams per day, he gets 35% out of his total income as an average. And it's a 7-step slab. So it goes from 0 all the way to 35%. Okay. And based on his income, I'm very glad I can share that with you as well, so you can see.
Okay.
Yeah. But there is no limit on the number of trips because trips varies in prices. But our average income per trip is around 20, now it's 23 dirhams approximately. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Amar. Thanks, Krishna.
Thank you. Any other question? And before any other question pops up, we would also want to inform that we also encourage you to look at the public data sets which is available that could possibly be merged with the data set that we will be sharing. So many of you were talking about customer feedback and things like that. And with data extraction techniques, a lot of feedback can be mined and some text analytics can be done. So we are open for that in terms of how you could work with whatever is publicly available. It is allowed to merge that along with the data set that will be shared. So that is one thing which we are promoting. We have one more question. Toyosi, would you want to elaborate? Toyosi, you had put a question in the chat.
Yeah, speaking of public data, I mean, it's good to look at the Dubai calendar. It has all the events of Dubai, and the data is heavily correlated, in terms of the events in Dubai as well. Let's go back to,
Yeah, Toyosi, sorry, you were speaking.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, I wanted to. My insights might be financial and budget based on how Dubai Taxi might make more profit and cut costs. So, are we going to be giving more data about the previous budgets, cost of maintenance for DTC, how much the driver takes home, and other stuff?
It's difficult to give you this information. We have some financial data in the trips data. I mean, you can use that.
Yeah, so Toyosi, some financial data is available in the trips data itself, based on which you could do some insights in terms of the financial modeling which is there. But overall, as a firm, I think these are quite confidential data information that cannot be shared, unfortunately. Basil, go ahead, please. Go ahead, Basil. Okay, I think there's one question in terms of Murad is asking what's the expected thing in the proposal. So that's a very good question. And again, when we will be sending you the sample data set, we will also be sending you the possible sections that we need in the proposal. Basically, we want to understand what aspect have you picked up. So what are your questions or what are your objectives that you're going to solve and how it would add value to Dubai Taxi Corporation. We would also like to know the method that you would be using, the tools that you would be using in order to develop the model or insight or let's say heat map or visualization or dashboard, whatever you are generating as an insight. We want to know the objectives and the method mainly. But of course, there will be a set pattern. It will be just 2 pages. The whole idea is, we cannot share data with everyone, and it has to be with a process-driven NDA form and all that. So only the proposals that have strong intent in terms of what value they can deliver will be selected, and then we'll be sharing the NDA form with them. So you will get more details on what is expected in the proposal for sure. Any other questions? That's an interesting, Amar. I think you can answer. Do we have limousine data, the black cars?
I didn't share it with you, but I can share with you the data if you want. Yeah.
Okay. So Ahmed, I think that would be an interesting thing. So if we get a hold of limousine data as well, we will definitely share that. Can we provide a supporting deliverable in the form of AI predictive model in addition to the dashboard? Yes, definitely. And the whole idea is, at the end, whatever deliverables you have. And I think my personal take on that is your product or your final deliverable should be shippable in nature. So in the sense that, okay, once you're saying, hey, this is done, it can be presented, not only presented, but also shipped directly to DTC. So if they want to kind of look at what you have done and just check the results and kind of see if there is value addition, a shippable product would make more value for the firm. So definitely you will have to submit the deliverables at the end, and we'll totally appreciate that. Okay, any other questions for Mr. Amar? So mainly, I think the questions more from the competition perspective, you can always write to me and we will be in touch. But mainly, I think it's important to utilize Mr. Amar in terms of DTC perspective and what is expected. Sultan, Abu, please go ahead. You have a question?
First, thank you for hosting this session. My question is, what is the objectives or vision of DTC? And are there any pain points, if there are any, that you can share? And that's it. Thank you.
Very smart question.
The vision in terms of this competition, or the vision in general?
No,
this competition. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, as an organization.
As an organization, we always want to be pioneer. Basically, we want to deliver the best service, the best customer service, in Dubai, and in terms of transporting customers, either through our taxi fleet or limousine fleet or school bus or whatever new service that we will introduce in the future. In terms of pain points, as a business, every day there is a new challenge. Okay, and we always come up with different solutions, to overcome it. I mean, the biggest challenge that we had it was last year, which is the COVID, but we learned how to overcome it. Originally, our fleet actually is it's over 5,000 vehicles, 5,200 vehicles. But in the presentation, I showed you 4,264. At the beginning of the year, for us to sustain ourselves and to be more productive in this market, we reduced our fleet by 18%. We reduced 937 vehicles, and if we pass by Dubai, maybe you'll see some of them parked here. We sold some, we put some on hold just right before Expo, and then we do the proper calculations so we can put them back to work when the time is right. So COVID is a big challenge for everybody, but we learned how to work through it, and we got back into a healthy stand by doing what's necessary, reducing our cost not by letting go of our people. We just reduce the assets, the normal assets, the fixed assets. So yeah, we have lots of challenges, and for your competition, I think you have a big challenge as well. We're not expecting, something very simple, straightforward. We want something that will be packaged and usable by us, and I think most of you are actually capable of doing so. If you put the time and effort and looking at the data, I think you can do it, and you can do something very valuable for us in the bike taxi.
Wonderful. Thank you. That was a brilliant answer, Amar, and also a great question. And I'm so happy that the discussion is not purely around, should I do Python or R, but it's more on the business aspects on how the value can be delivered to an organization, what organizations stand for.
Python or R, you guys in the academic, I think I would say go do R, because I was in R for some time when I was doing the data science.
Yeah.
But in real life, learn Python. It's more. It's more useful to companies,
Definitely.
R is more for academic.
Right. And thank you so much for that insight as well. So you probably are thinking, and Amar, just to let you know that we might also be joined by SAS, and they are encouraging participants. They will give their platform for free if anyone wants to use SAS for doing some of the analytics. They can even do that. So we'll keep you posted on that as well. Thomas, I think last question, and then we will close the session. Thomas, go ahead, please, if you can.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you are. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Krishnadas and Dr. Amar. I just had a question regarding the mix of cars that you use in DTC. So you mentioned that you'd like some more information about what the best mix of cars would be. So I was wondering if you were going to give data pertaining to the number of salons that you use, the number of electric vehicles, the number of vans, etc. So we can model that accordingly.
Yeah, this can be arranged. It's I think it's available in the data now, but it's not. I think you can see it. You can see it in the data. It says if it's hybrid vehicle versus a normal vehicle or a van, and it gives you the model as well. It's there. It's available.
Thank you. That's all I wanted to know.
Fantastic. Thank you, Thomas. To answer Murad's question, yes. So again, as I said, this is a long process. So whenever there are evaluations, we would definitely approach DTC to understand the value that it is creating for them and whether your proposal makes sense or not. So we will have more opportunities, inshallah, later in order to interact. And at the end, we are really looking forward to some wonderful presentations that would come out of the hackathon. And truly, the reason why we are organizing a hackathon is to bridge that gap, and for analytics community to work on real data set that would add value, and for the organizations to see what can be done with the approach of a crowdsourcing hackathon. And these are some brilliant minds based on our previous hackathons that we have conducted. The outputs are really amazing, and I'm sure it might be double this time because the big name of Dubai Taxi Corporation is involved in the process. So we really wish you all the best. And really thankful to Mr. Amar for being so open, encouraging, and allowing people to work on a data set that would really add value. A big thanks again to Dr. Sedwin, Dr. Fahmida, the faculty members of Insights Lab, Srijit, Dr. Supriya, and the entire student team that has been working with us throughout to make this event happen. So today we had close to 100 acceptances and close to 100 people joining the link. So we have, I think, representation from 100 teams, which is just 50% of the overall representation. 230 is the exact number of teams that we are working with. So we are very sure that there'll be some brilliant proposals that would come in, and we look forward to seeing some wonderful outcomes. Dr. Sedwin, if you would want to close the session. You're on mute, Dr. Sedwin. Just.
Thank you, Mr. Amar, for taking so much time and especially giving us the technical details. It's always great to have a business head who knows the finer points of the technical part of the business. And with your IT background, it clearly shows that you know the nitty-gritty of what's happening. I really worry for your staff because they can't get away with telling you that oh sorry, this is in the system and it cannot be done like this, and this is system determined. So
actually, this is a fact. We cannot move.
So that's really great. I wish all our participants and the teams all the very best for this, and it gives us more encouragement because we feel the part of the UAE, Dubai, in contributing in a small way of making it the #1 city, #1 country in the world. So I wish all of you all the very best. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Sedwin. Thank you, Amar. We will be getting in touch with all the participants with the future steps, data, and all the NDA forms. We hope you have a good experience with us throughout the hackathon, and we will keep you posted on all the updates. If you wish to connect with me, I'm putting my email ID and the LinkedIn address. So anything related to the competition, I'll be more than happy to share. And anything that is related to DTC, we can always forward it to DTC and get answers to you eventually. So thank you so much. Have a good day. Wonderful meeting all of you, and take care. Thank you.
Thank you. All the best.
Bye.